G'day guys, it's Lockie here from the bar, and in this video I want to show you guys through our little full body blast workout that we have for you here. It's often one of the first workouts that people do when we welcome them to the gym, and there's a lot of things fundamentally that we like people to understand with their training, and it's the building blocks of everything that we're going to do later on between you and your trainer. So, little things like sets and reps and how to choose your weights and all that kind of stuff is what I'm going to go through today. But in this video, I'll also have an exercise description, the form and technique for each of the exercises that I do want you to do inside of this program as well, and exactly how to make those come together along the way. So the first thing I want to start with is you'll see a few things in the little orange table on the actual program. The first of those will be the exercise name, and then of course I said I'll show you the form for each of those exercises in terms of how to do them. The next thing that you guys will see will be sets and reps. So where it says 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps, that means that each block, each time we pick up the weights and we do a set of exercise, is a standalone sort of entity. We're going to rest in between. You'll notice it says 60 to 90 seconds between each one. That's the time obviously when we're not exercising. And of course, then it does have an area for us to do our weight and exercise recording details. That's for you guys if you'd like to print out the worksheet for yourself at home. It's always good to keep track of where we're starting from, obviously, because then it makes it easier for us to see where we are going, but it just allows us, I think, to see clearly week to week what we're achieving and where we're getting better too. So you will notice those first of all inside of the little table there. And as I do some of the exercise descriptions, I'm going to give you guys a little bit more insight into some of the things that you're looking for, watching for, in terms of making you guys confident and competent in performing this workout. It might seem like a lot of training for just one workout, but it's not just about this workout. This will help you with every session that you do, particularly in the open gym for the life of your gym span. All right, the first exercise that we're going to do is what we call a goblet squat, and we're going to need one of these, which is called a kettlebell. Okay, important thing is there's obviously a lot of different weights, and in terms of how to choose the weight, what we're going to do is we're going to start with something really light. So this is the 8 kilo, it's the lightest one, and this is what we're going to do first is a warm-up set. So on your program where it does say 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps, they're all working sets. So any warm-up that we do before that won't count for those sets. So we just start with something really light. With a form and technique for this one, guys, we're going to have our hands on the kettlebell, our elbows up underneath, pushing to the sky. You want your feet flat on the floor here. And we're going to load our heels first, bring our hips down, keep our elbows up and our chest up nice and tall, trying to get our bum below our knees in terms of the depth that we want, and then of course pushing back up to the sky from there. So we're looking for nice steady reps. We want to make sure we're not leaning far forward and not tipping onto our toes. We also want to make sure that we're not sort of hunching over to try and get depth as well. Tall chest, low hips from there. So we're up and down, aiming for the desired reps on that one. Now, the reps that we were going for were 10 to 15 on the program that we've got. How we judge weight is we would like to land somewhere between 10 and 15 reps, okay? So if we get a weight, say we pick up the red one, which is the heaviest one at 32 kilos, and I can only get 4 or 5 reps with good form, good technique, we've got a problem because we're not at our 10 to 15. So that's how we would know it's too heavy. And say I've got the 8 and I can do 20, 25 plus, well, I'm not getting to what we call failure before 15, so it means that the weight that we've got is too light. So it may take you a little bit of playing around with those weights. What we're aiming for is mastering the form and technique with the weight that we've got before we progress that weight up. If in doubt, do the form and the technique correct first, then we can add the weight later. Doesn't work so well trying to do it the other way. That's our first exercise, so you're going to do 10 to 15 reps, have a break, assess the weight, do your next set, have a break, assess the weight, do your final set from there. Remembering those 3 working sets don't include any warm-ups that we're going to do at the start. 1 to 2 warm-up sets for each body part is always a good little rule of thumb as well. The next exercise, guys, that we're going to be doing is what's called a dumbbell bench press. Really quite a bit of a step up from the goblet squat. There's a few more things to focus on, but this one for us is a chest exercise, a pushing exercise. So we need a couple dumbbells from the rack behind me, and of course one of the flat benches here. When you're training, good gym etiquette, you got to make sure you have your towel with you. Anything that you sweat on, your towel should definitely go. All right, so I've got my dumbbells here at the front of the bench. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down onto the bench, one in each hand. The easiest way I like to start is by popping them on my knees. And then I'm going to roll back onto the bench, nice and flat. The dumbbells up together, touching at the top. We're going to bring them down in line with your chest. You feel a big stretch out across your chest. We're going to press them back up from there. Trying to keep our elbows underneath our hands as we come out and all the way back up. And we really want to keep that movement pattern nice and steady. We're coming back in, we're going to touch them at the top every time just to keep them in check. I believe on this one we're aiming for 10 to 12 reps if I'm not mistaken. Through this, like I said before, we're going to do a warm-up set first because we're training a different muscle group now. Then we're going to aim for 10 to 12 reps. If we get more than 12, it's obviously a little bit too easy for us, so we're going to up the weight. If we can't get to 10, then we know it's too heavy, and we're going to drop it back a little bit as well. All right, guys, the next exercise we've got is what's called a seated row. We're going to be using this machine here with the V handle down the bottom. Now this one's a cable machine, so we change the weight on the stack here. The heavier down the stack it is, obviously the harder the exercise is going to be for us. What we're aiming for is, again, a weight that we can do within that rep range. This is a pulling exercise, so we've done a little bit of legs at the start with our squats, some chest with the pushing. This is a pulling exercise using our back. So we're going to do those 1 to 2 warm-up sets as well on this exercise because it's a different muscle group, different area. So we pick a weight down here that we think is suitable or a good place to start. The more often that you guys do this, the more that you'll know exactly where is a good starting point for you. Pop our feet up on the pedals there, keep your chest nice and tall, coming forward, grabbing the handles there, bringing the weight off the stack, letting your shoulders and your arms extend out straight. From here, shoulders come back, our elbows stay nice and low, tucked in, and pull all the way to the rib cage. And full reach at the end again, and all the way back in each and every time. So nice steady reps. The tempo that we're going to be aiming for all of our exercises that we do should be about 2 seconds up and 2 seconds down. Now even that, the speed of which we do the reps can get us different results with our training, and as you guys get more advanced, your trainers might even start using different tempos with different exercises as well. That is a seated row. Let's move on to the next exercise is what we call a barbell overhead press. We're going to start with one of these weighted bars at our chest. It's going up above our head and then back down from there. Now, what we want to do is we've got to set up the rack at a height that's right for us first. And where we want it is just so the pins are where the bar is resting. If you can see it there. So these pins should be just below our shoulder height, so that's where we're picking the bar off, being able to walk away from the rack, get set up, and then start pressing from there. In terms of the form and technique from this one, about a little bit wider than our shoulders is where we're going to want our hands. We're going to start with the barbell in line with our collarbone, press all the way up to the sky, and you might notice what sort of happens is once I get to full extension here, it looks like my head's poking through there as my arms get out straight. So head through the hole, if you can think about that at the top. Tuck it back down each time, nice steady reps, 2 seconds up and 2 seconds down is what we're aiming for, and go on from there. A couple of people might have trouble on this one. It's better to keep it lighter and master the form and technique first. If you have trouble and you're sort of finding that you're trying to press the bar out here and struggling to get overhead, we want to keep lighter and try and get that stretch at the top of each rep to make sure that our form and technique improves before we're adding more and more weight. Now with any exercise that I'm doing that involves a squat rack, always face the squat rack. Sometimes people are trying to stand backwards in a rack. It makes it very hard and awkward to re-rack the weights. We always face the rack when we kick off from there. Tuck the elbows under, walk it back, so we've got a bit of room. We're not going to hit the pins. Pressing up to the sky, head through the hole, tucking your elbows back down, moving straight up and down from there. When we're finished, we bring it down, walk it forward into the rack, and we're all finished. All right, guys, the next exercise we're going to do is another back exercise. So we could probably ditch the warm-up sets on these ones, but it's called a lat pull-down. So instead of pulling this way now, we're going to practice an exercise where we're pulling down the weight from the top, okay? Now, the machine that we're going to be using this time, not a dumbbell, not barbells, not the cable machine, we're going to be using one of our little fixed machines here. They have the stack of weights, as you'll see there as well. So we change it by putting the pin in different location, obviously to get heavier and heavier or lighter and lighter. When we kick off, there's something important to notice. This pedal down here, I'm going to try and get my finger going the right way. This pedal down here will actually bring the handles at the top down to us to make them easier to grab off the start, so it's not as awkward, and we can still get full range of motion, all right? So I shall demonstrate as I jump on there. One of the things you want to set up is the seat height, okay? You want that to be at a reasonable height. The easiest way to set it for the lat pull down should be just about maybe 3 to 6 inches below the top of your hips is a good little rule of thumb with this one to allow you to get full reach and give you enough room to move while you're on the exercise. So once you do get that set up, beyond the seat, you guys may not be able to see the foot pedal. The first thing I'll do is I push it down. You can see the handles move without me actually grabbing them. On this one, there's lots of places that we can grab the handles. Where I want you guys to start is just on the ends of the hooks here. That's where we're going to grab them. We let the foot pedal off, so we've now got all the weight in our hands. Keep our chest up nice and tall as we pull down to our shoulders from there. We're going to try not to crunch yourself over on this one at the end. Keep yourself nice and tall. Your head and your back should stay against the pad. Again, we're aiming for, I believe, our 10 to 15 reps on this one, or whatever it is that's written on our program, using the same principles from before to choose our weights. Final exercise in our workout today, guys, is what's going to be called a plank, and this time we're just using our body weight, which is an effective means of training. What we're aiming for is a core exercise. So again, we don't have to do our warm-up sets on this one because it's a kind of a little bit of a different exercise. We've been using our core all the way through our workup anyhow. But what we're going to do is we're trying to hold ourselves in one position on our elbows and our toes, keeping the rest of our body off of the ground for as long as we can. So you'll see in the reps on this one, it actually says fail. And fail just means doing it with great form, so the best form that we can for as long as we can, without letting that form and technique break down. So we're here, we're on the ground, our elbows, hands together. They should be right underneath our shoulders. My feet are together. You might not be able to see them off camera. I'm trying to keep myself in one straight line throughout. As you go, you want to be squeezing your core. You don't want to feel it in your lower back too much. So make sure you keep tension in your core. Give those abs a little bit of a squeeze as you go throughout the exercise, and then hold it for as long as you can. So it's 3 rounds of failure, meaning that we do 1 round, set a stopwatch, set a timer. We see how long we get. We have our rest, our 60 to 90 seconds. We do our second set from there, and then of course repeat the process for the third set as well. Guys, that is your full body blast workout. Feel free to check back in on any of these exercises or watch this video obviously as many times as you would like. The principles inside of it will serve you for the rest of your training. Obviously, your trainer is going to keep teaching you about the fundamentals of weights and training in the open gym throughout, you know, being an SPT or being a VIP. So it's really important for us to start here, grasp the concepts like we've done today, and then of course practice them as well. So you'll see any other information that you need obviously on the sheet provided, but go back and watch through this video as often as you need to as well. But of course, feel free to ask any of our trainers a question at any time if you ever need a little bit more help. So guys, hope you enjoy, hope you have fun with it, hope you can see yourself getting better and better at the form and the technique for each exercise, see your weights improving, and of course get fitter, faster, stronger, and feel and look a hell of a lot better.